Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another Mindset Saturday. We up in the building again, doing what we do, how we do it, right? Winning all the time, the victory in everything. We're more than conquerors. So welcome, everyone. It's good to see everyone. Another Saturday. We're up in here and we're going to get it started and get it going. All right. So we're going to start off with this word. All right. Everybody see it. Oh, yeah, I wrote nice and big today. All right. Everybody see it. Now, who knows what this word means? I know everybody knows what it is. Who knows what the word means?
I heard it means it has something to do with your death. Tends the term mort inside of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Anyone else? That's right. That's half right. That's correct. Anyone else know what that word means? Mortgage. Mortgage. All right.
A lien or some kind of debt put against something.
Okay. So this word is kind of like two languages kind of combined. It's Latin and Old French. Right? So mort, like Kari said, means dead. Gage means pledge. That's also where the word wage comes from. It's a pledge to give you something as a result of your work, right? So gauge and wage are very similar in that sense. But so mortgage is two words. It means dead pledge, right? So what it's essentially saying is that when you pay this off, right? If you paid off your mortgage of your house, right? That means your pledge is now dead. That means you paid off what you pledged. Your pledge is now dead and you're good to go. That house is yours. If you don't, right, then your pledge becomes dead to you. Your pledge is to pay off your house. So that means your house essentially would become dead to you. You would lose possession of it. Does that make sense? Right? So that's literally what it means. It just means a dead pledge. It means something that you're either that's going to die as a result of you satisfying it, or it's going to be dead to you as a result of you not satisfying it. Does that make sense to everyone? So that's what this is. Now, does anybody know when or where this first started? This mortgage, this term, when or where this first started?
No idea.
Any guesses?
Did it start in America?
No, sir.
Europe?
But thank you for asking. Everybody on here quiet. This is not class. Ask, right? Guess. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with not knowing, right? But this is how we learn. Well, I'm not going to give everybody the answers. Everybody sit back. We already know how that's not working. Kari, thank you, sir. Thank you for participating. All these other people. That's right. Hey, man, I see names. I'm going to start calling some names. You're not invisible. I know you think you're invisible, but you're not. Anybody know where this started?
Europe?
Who said that?
Kari.
Yes, sir. So not yes or no. England. This started in England around the 1190s. Around the 1190s, it started in England, around the 1190s, right? So they basically started saying, hey, if you want something, this is how you're going to get it as far as property. Now, this concept came to the Americas in the late 1800s and the early in the early 1900s, when all the waves of immigrants, especially coming from Europe, all the different places in Europe, you know, in England and in England, all the different places in Europe, Germany and Ireland and Scotland and all the other different places, right? This is when all the immigrants started coming to America, people needed places to stay, right? People needed places to stay. So they started this process on how you could get property and things like that. So that's where they started, from the early 1800s to 1900s. Now, does anybody know what the first, does anybody know, I'm going to erase this, so take a picture or whatever else it is. Does anybody know what the first mortgages looked like? As far as like time, how they worked, does anybody know that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question again?
Does anybody know how the first mortgages looked like? So in the late 1800s and early 1900s, when all the immigrants came from England, from Europe, from all the different places, right, to America, to the Americas, all these people needed places to stay. So they created this concept of a mortgage, right, where you could basically, you know, how you get your homes, kind of similar to where we do today. But does anybody know what the first mortgage terms and things looked like?
I assume they were longer than the ones they have now.
Okay. Anyone else? Not named Kari? Who else? Anybody have any guesses? What did the first mortgages look like? I don't expect you to know, but I want us to, we're always learning how to think, right?
Like something you could actually do.
I guess doing is relative, because here, you want to hear it, here it goes. Mortgages look like 50%, 5 years, and 50%. Look like 50, 5, 50. That's what the first ones look like. What does that mean? That means if your house was $10,000, you had to put 50% of that down right then. 50% down payment right then. The next 5 years were all interest-only payments, only interest. They were only interest. So 50% down, 5 years interest-only payments, and then after those 5 years, your last balloon payment was the last 50% of that. So 50% down, 5 years interest-only payments, and 50% balloon payment at the end. Most mortgages were anywhere from 3 to 5 years. That's what they were. That's what the original mortgages look like. Now, over time, that has changed. And it's changed essentially because people always need housing, but because of the price of housing, most of the time, most people can't afford the price of it in such short time periods. So what started happening then was they said, okay, well, most people, as things went on and housing prices started going up, most people couldn't pay a house off in 3 to 5 years. Most people didn't have 50% in the beginning and 50% in the end. They couldn't make these down payments and these balloon payments. They couldn't do it. So then people started, defaulting, right? So then in the 1930s, that is where the FHA came in, right? Because what happened was in the Great Depression, right? Their banks weren't lending anything, obviously. So you still had this influx of people, all these immigrants coming in to build the country. You had all these immigrants coming in, building the country. So they needed places to stay from all across the world. Were coming to America because America is like one of the newer countries, right? As it relates to the world. So everybody from all the other established countries or countries they were already living in larger populations started coming to America, the American dream, so to speak. So now all these people needed places to stay, but most people couldn't afford a 50 down payment, interest only, and a balloon payment. And then in the late 20s, I believe it was, right? We're going through the Depression and then stuff like that. So Teddy Roosevelt, right, created the Great New Deal, which was essentially a way to infuse the market with capital or opportunities to stimulate it again, to get people spending again, to get people to have access to things again, because the banks weren't lending in this time. So all these people come from other countries, had no place to stay, or they couldn't buy a place to stay, right? So they created the FHA. And so the FHA was the government's basically insurance policy to set some standards on how they were going to loan people money in order to get this. But in order to do that, they had to change a couple things. So one of the things they changed was this 3 to 5 year thing. They knew that wasn't really going to work anymore. So then they started opening up to 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years. That's how we got where we are today. Right, was basically extending the time so that people could now start being able to pay over longer periods of time. They created what we call amortization, which is basically the ability to pay interest and principal at the same time. Remember, in these original times, you were paying a 50% down payment. In the middle, you were paying interest only for 3 to 5 years, depending on what your contract was. And at that end of 3 or 5 years, you were paying your last balloon payment. If you could not pay that last balloon payment, your house was up. It was over. Doesn't matter how much you had done before that, they were taking it back. So after the Great Depression and in the New Deal with President Roosevelt, he had to figure out how to re-stimulate the economy and keep it going. And one of those things was housing. So they created the FHA in the 30s. Fannie Mae came late 30s. Freddie Mac came in the 70s, right? So they started doing these things where you could amortize your loan over a longer period of time, pay principal and interest at the same time, and you'd be paying more, but it allowed people to get into homes that they otherwise would not have been able to get into. That's kind of how we are where we are today, right? Now, does anybody know where, is anything else I want to say? Does anybody know where the 20% down concept came from? You know, like people say, oh, you have to have 20% down or whatever else it is. Does anybody know where that came from? Okay. Anybody else? Does anybody know where the 20% down on your home concept came from? It was a real thing, but where it came from.
Was it the banking industry themselves? Did they set that standard?
Okay. Who was that? Les. Okay. So in a roundabout way, it was designed just like FHA. It was designed to protect the banks. Right.
Okay.
So it was designed to protect the banks. So yes, in a roundabout way, I'm sure they probably asked for it, but in a roundabout way, yes. So essentially what happens was when people defaulted on their loans, banks are not in the job of holding property like that. So they're trying to get that property off as quickly as they can. And so what they found over time was that the difference in what was owed and what they could sell it for as quickly as they could was 20%. If they reduced the asking price of what they were selling it for by 20%, they could get it off their back and off their books quick, or much more likely. Much quicker. That's where that 20% came from. They said, okay, if they defaulted, we got to take this property. We got to get this property off our back right now. So what is it we have to discount this by? And the average number that they found was 20%. That's where that came from. Was the 20% down. The 20% was basically like, okay, we already got your 20%. Cool. If you default, we're going to sell it for 20% less than what it's actually worth, but then we still break even. We got everything you've paid up to that point, but we don't lose by selling this property at a discount. Because if we didn't have your 20% down payment, we basically would have lost 20% on this deal. So that's
right.
Essentially, I'm sorry?
No, I'm sorry. I just said right out loud. I apologize.
Okay. That's essentially where that 20% down payment concept came from. Now, as that went on, as these prices kept going up, people couldn't afford 20% down. It didn't matter if you put it over 50 years. People just were like, I can't do it. But they still wanted to keep selling these houses because they realized that was one of the biggest stimulants to the economy was home ownership. right? And so banks are always trying to figure out how can we loan the most while incurring the least amount of risk. So then in the 1950s, about 1956, they created what we now know today as the PMI, right? The private mortgage insurance, right? That is your 20%, right? That you're essentially, that you're paying beside your mortgage. That is your payment that you're paying beside your mortgage if you didn't put that 20% down. That came in about 1956. Right? So this is what you're paying if you don't put 20% down. And so essentially what they're doing now is they're making you take all the risk up front, middle, beginning, end, and everything. Right? They're making you take all the risk. That's where this came from. I'm not saying this is good or bad. This is just the history. Like always in the beginning of the classes, we like to, whether it's just introduce a new concept, a new word, or the history of something, just to know where things come from, how things got to where they are today, right? This is how we came to the PMI, right? That 20%, right? So this is what you're paying along with your mortgage and things like that, your property, your thing. So, and then if you default on that, they basically take it back, and we know what happens after that point. Right. But that's essentially kind of how we got to where we are today in the housing situation. Like I said, Fannie Mae came late 30s, 38 or 39. Freddie Mac came about 30 years later, about 60, 68, 69, somewhere. Somebody can look it up, but it's around there. Right. Those are just basically government insurance programs that were designed to insure loans that these banks were making, and then they basically turned it and flipped it and tried to make it that the person receiving a loan incurs the most risk. So that's where PMI came from. That's where the 50%. They're always trying to make sure that you take the most risk, right? That's going to make it more likely that you pay off whatever else it is. I think I was talking to Leslie about this one day, actually, where like on your car, right? They back in the day, in the early I think car insurance where you had to have it didn't happen until I think like the early 80s, mid 80s. And that was because if you got into a car accident in your car, you don't actually own your car. The state owns your car. So when you get into an accident with someone else, they were actually suing the state and not the person driving, because they were the actual owner of the car. So then they started making you get car insurance where you actually could be held liable because you were driving the state's car, but they didn't want to incur the risk. So they made you self-insure. That is where car insurance comes from. Same concept as property insurance, right? They're always trying to make you incur the most liability, most risk, whatever else it is, because they're saying they're giving you an opportunity by lending you something, whether it's their car that you bought that is still ultimately theirs, or that's why they can tow it. That's why they can repossess it. That's why they can do all that different stuff, because it's technically still their property. Because if you know law, when you register anything, it means to turn over property. Registration means to turn over property in law, right? So anyway, just a little history, just to let you know kind of how some of this stuff goes or how it's gone, so that you can, have an understanding of why we are where we are today. Very simple. Why we are where we are today, where things came from, how things came, and stuff like that. Always interesting to learn new things, especially about things that we're still living in and living on and living under, so to speak. All right. Everybody understand that? Everybody get a good understanding of that?
Yes,
Does
we're good.
everybody say yay? Yay,
Yes.
yay,
Thank you.
nay? All right. I want to make sure everybody gets it. All right. So today, we're talking about as you are. That's topic of the day. As you are. As you are. As you are. The when, where, what, and why is because of the, need a volunteer. The when, the where, the what, and the why is because of what?
Because of the I?
Okay. Right? The when, the where, the what, and the why is because of what?
The who.
Hello? The
who.
when, the where, the what, and the why is because of the what?
The who.
The who.
Oh,
Sorry, I was on mute earlier. I thought I said
Oh, it's okay.
Pastor that.
But shoot, even if I never heard from you again today, you've already done your job. I'm gonna fire up these other people that are asleep. The who. The when in your life, the where in your life, the what in your life, the why in your life, why something's happening, what's happening, where it's happening, when it's happening is because of the who, which is the you. It's because of the you. Your life is going as you are. As you are. That's what all these metaphysical teachers, that's what all these different religions who are, in the books as they are, not as people follow them and all the other stuff, but as they're actually saying in all these different books and all these different things, those things weren't designed to be religious. They just were made religious, but they were not. It's no more religious than a math book. But the math book has a Pythagorean theorem, has all the different formulas or has all the different concepts of math, but it's not a book to be worshipped. Right? Neither is the Bhagavad Gita, neither is Quran, the Torah, that's not what they were designed for. That's how people are using them, but that's not what they're designed for. They're just giving you theorems. They're giving you concepts from teachers who understand it and who have lived it or who were living it at the time and were writing it out for people behind them to be able to follow. The Pythagorean theorem is not racist, it's not sexist, it's not for or against anyone. It's just an understanding of a squared plus b squared equals c squared. As a mind thinks itself to be, so is it. That's just a mental theorem. It's a mental understanding of how things work. It's not for or against anyone. Now, we've taken these other books, made them religious, and made them for or against other people, but that's just humanity being humanity. But that doesn't make it the truth or what it's actually supposed to be, right? The when in your life, the where in your life, the what in your life, the why in your life is all because of the who. The who is you. As you are, your life is going. Now, the you, right? We're not really talking about the physical you, all of us with all the names on the screen. That's not who we're really talking about. When we're talking about the you, we're talking about what? When we're talking about the you, what are we talking about?
the who?
Okay. When we're talking about the who, what are we talking about?
The I?
Essentially, yes. We're talking about the I, right? And if we go a little further, then we'll say the I am. Whatever you're believing this to be is when something's happening, where it's happening, what's happening, and why it's happening. That's what everybody in these books are trying to tell you. That's what anybody who's talking about the books are trying to tell you if they're telling you correctly. It's not telling you what you should or shouldn't be. It's telling you that you can or can't. You can be anything. Your best friend or your worst enemy. You can be your salvation or your destruction. But everything that's going on in your physical world is a reflection of you. What the all powerful, the all being, the all capable is believing itself to be by saying am. By conditioning itself to be something. So I believe I am Giovanni. So the I believes itself to be Giovanni. So therefore Giovanni is alive, is made alive. That body is made alive, but that body is only alive from the inside out, not from the outside in. The body is just a vehicle. It's not in control of anything on its own. It's just something that's being controlled from the inside out, so we can't see it. Just like hair growing from the inside out. We can't see where the hair is coming, when it's coming, how fast it's coming, but it does come from the inside out. We are living from the inside out. So our body is the first reflection of that life or that lifestyle. How we are thinking on a thinking, feeling, and believing on a regular basis. That's a lifestyle. That is a way of living, just like working out on a regular basis. People say, oh, I work out religiously. They're saying it's a lifestyle. They're saying it's something they do consistently. That's all lifestyle is regular pattern of behavior, whether it's in thought, in feelings, in actions, it's the same thing. Maybe applied to different things, but it's the same. Right? So as you are, our lives are going as we are. And if we want to change anything about our lives, we're going to have to first change ourselves. Whether it's our concept of ourselves, and whether it is our esteem of ourselves, what we value, how we value ourselves. Concept is just an idea. What is our self-concept? What is the idea we hold of ourselves? Are you smart? Are you not? Are you fat? Are you skinny? Are you short? Are you tall? Are you broke? What is your idea of yourself? How do you describe yourself? What do you think about yourself? Right? Then from that comes esteem. Based on what you think about or feel about yourself, you attach a value to it. That's called esteem, self-esteem. That's why no one can give it to you. We try to impart it and instill it in people we love, but no one can give it to you. And that's why because it's largely gained by our accomplishments, our achievements, by feeling capable, by feeling like we have a say in our world, by feeling like we are able to do things. By the achievements we have, the successes we have. It makes us feel like we're more able and capable. That raises our value of ourselves. We're like, wow, we really can do it. We really are something. We really can make it. That's esteem, the value we hold of our identity. The value we place on what we call ourselves, what we think about ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. And these thoughts, feelings, beliefs that we have about ourselves are constant. They're not always conscious, but they're always constant. They never go away until we change them. That you can change. You can change. Whatever you are now, you became. And whatever else you want to be, you can become. The challenge for most of us is that when we became what we are, if we want to change it, when we became that, we weren't conscious of it. A lot of times we weren't conscious of what we were becoming. So then we just didn't realize what we were or what we are that we didn't or don't like or want to change. We already it. We didn't realize it. But now that we're trying to change it, now that we know we have the power and the right to change it, it's conscious. And that can feel harder because now you have to consciously stay on top of your mind. You have to consciously decide to say good things about yourself and to yourself as a lifestyle. About yourself, about your life, about the who, the when, the where, the what, the why, about those things in your life, because they're all expressions of you. And so a lot of times we're trying to change the when, the where, the what, and the why, while the who remains the same, and it doesn't work. When anybody is, when we are talking about this, or when anybody is teaching this, or when we're talking about it, we try to find 1,000 different ways to say it, but to be honest, it's the same thing every week. Because there's not 1,000 answers. There's not 1,000 different, ways to get to that end of, hey, you are the product of your dominant thinking, of your dominant feeling, of your dominant set of beliefs about yourself, about your life, about the way things go. We try to say that 1,000 different ways, but there's only really one truth. That's the truth. That's what all the books are leading you to, or trying to tell you that it is you that you're looking for. The power is in you to change who, the what, the when, the where, the why. But first you have to change the who. You change this, it changes everything else automatically. It reflects itself. It rearranges itself to reflect your who. Neville Goddard said, a change of self-concept essentially changes your world. When you change who you believe yourself to be, who you think yourself to be, who you feel yourself to be, and you keep it changed long enough, the world you see will be different. You'll have different experiences because they're all reflecting the who. The as you are, as you believe yourself to be. And within all of us is the ability to change the who. It's the ability to change the who. But the who is not the body. The who is our consciousness, what we're aware of being. That is what we have the ability to change. Our consciousness. That is where free will lies, in the mind. And our ability to choose, we can choose anything, no matter whether people think it's good or bad, heinous or glorious. That is where our true and only freedom lies, in our ability to decide who we want to be. And that decision is mental, meaning you are using your mind to change your self-concept, to change what you are believing yourself to be. You don't need anyone's help to do that, support to do that. You don't need that. Now, it's helpful, but you don't need it. You don't need it. You have everything inside of you to do that. But that's what teachers are for. Teachers are here to help you just know that or remember that. They can't give it to you. Everything that you need is inside of you to be whoever you are. That's why whoever you are now is working. So it's not about getting more or having less, so to speak. It's just about redirecting what you already have. That's what this is about. Right? So in one of the wisdom books, right, it talks about a potter. Go down to the potter's house. I think it's in Deuteronomy. It says go down to the potter's house. Right? Potter. Does anybody know what this word means? Potter, what this word means esoterically, metaphysically. What does that word mean that they're using in that wisdom book? In this particular book is the Bible. Which one? What does that word mean? Right? If for those of you who read the Bible, if you do that, you make sure you have a concordance. One of the best ones is Strong's. Get a concordance so that you can see what these words mean, because the story is one thing, but what it means is another.
So Lunar put in the chat former.
Former,
Yeah,
like as in used to be.
I believe so.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So everyone, if you read that book, make sure you have a concordance so that you understand what the words mean. Because like I said, the stories are one thing, but what they mean are something else. The meaning is hidden within the story. Exoteric is exo, skeletal, means on the outside. Eso means under. So the story is telling you something on the outside, but the meaning is underneath it. And if you don't know what the words really mean, you'll be reading the words and think you understand the story, but you won't get the meaning from the story. Right? So potter, the word potter in Hebrew means imagination. Right? It means basically to declare. It means, so your I am, your consciousness. Oh, I misspelled that. I beat that all up. Your consciousness is the potter. Your awareness of being is the potter. The physical body you are is the clay. What you would call yourself, Giovanni, Tammy, Lunar, all of you, all of us here, right, are the physical body is the clay. Your consciousness is your potter. What you are believing yourself to be is forming your body, forming your world. Because of what it believes itself to be. So when a potter is sitting there with a thing of clay and it has an idea, when he or she has an idea, they are now using the clay to express that idea. The clay is neutral. Clay doesn't have any power. It's just there to be used by the potter. Your consciousness, what you are believing yourself to be, when you say, I am something, that is the potter. So the potter is now using your body. and using your life to express what your true self is believing itself to be. So when I say physically, when I name all of our names, that's physical. That part of us doesn't have any say. It's just formed and fashioned according to our consciousness. Our mind is the potter. That is where all the decisions are made. That is where what our physical body looks like, what the clay looks like, is based on the potter. It's based on our imagination, our declarations, our formation, like what it is we are saying we're molding this into. But if you look at any movie, if you've ever been to a pottery class, or you look at any movie where there's, pottery happening, people can start forming it and then say, I don't like it. And what do? They let it kind of fall apart. They break it down and they start over. You can refashion it. You can reform it. You can remodel it. That's what clay is for. You could shape it 1,000 different times, 1,000 different ways. Your body, your physical life is clay. You can remodel it. You can refashion it. You can reform it. You can, because you are the potter. Your mind, your consciousness is the potter. So if there's something about yourself that you don't like, something about your life you don't like, then now the first place you go is to the potter. You go to your mind and you say, okay, how do I want to restructure this? How do I want to reshape this? What do I want this to be now? Just like the potter would with that clay. They tried to build a castle, maybe it didn't work. So they had to break it down, maybe some of it, maybe all of it, but they broke it down. But they didn't have a heart attack over it. They just broke it down because they realized they're the potter and they could just reshape it and get what they want. You can reshape your life and get what you want. But that is done in mind. That's not done in physical effort. The physical effort is the reflection of the consciousness of your mind. So when you are thinking properly, meaning you are thinking yourself to be what you want to be, to have what you want to have, to do what you want to do. Now, that means with that mind, you are going to shape your life. You want to shape your clay with that mind. You can work on that clay all day, but if you want to build a castle and you're thinking about a car is going to keep coming out. Not because your hands aren't working, but because your hands are working according to the idea it possesses. So when you want to reshape your life, whether it's the first thing, I always say your body first, because it's the first thing that is yours, not you. It's the first thing outside of you that is yours, not you. It's not you, it's yours. It's not you, it's yours. And then that's your body, then your world, right? Whether it's your money, whether it's your health, whether it is your relationships, whether it's whatever else it is, right? You can reshape those. But the only way to do that is by reshaping your mind. The first place you have to go is here. You have to start in your mind. What do you want now? What are you willing to reimagine? Reshaping the clay is like reimagining your mind. Reimagine your desired outcome in your mind. Declare, choose something different. The potter doesn't have a stroke, a heart attack, burning candles, wearing beads, getting an outfit to literally reshape the clay that didn't turn out the way they thought. They just break it down and they get back on it and start turning the wheel again. That's all you have to do. That's all we have to do is change our mind. A change of self-concept will change the world you live in. It will change what you are seeing and experiencing. There's things you don't experience because there's things you don't do. Has anybody in here ever been shot down in a fighter jet? Everybody been flying over the deserts of Iran or Iraq and been shot down in a fighter jet? Anybody have that here? Do you know why we haven't? Because we're not in a fighter jet. We're not a pilot. So the point is that certain things can't happen to you if that's not who you are. They can't happen. It's not fate. It's not destiny. It is reality. They can't happen. They can't. You can't jump out of the plane in a parachute without getting on the plane. And it's just, I mean, we talk about this stuff and it's not common talk. So a lot of times it can feel really, you know, I'm gonna use a word, it's not real, obviously, real incensey. You know, like there's some kind of mystical smoke going up in the air or it's not. It's not. You cannot jump out of a plane unless you get on the plane. You cannot be thrown out of a plane if you're not on a plane. You can't jump off a boat if you're not on a boat. There's certain things that nothing can happen to you if you're not in that position. So the things that are happening to us are because we're in that position, good, bad, or other. It's because we're in that position. What we come to do here every Saturday is decide our position, to start playing chess and not checkers, to start actually maneuvering with some skill and some savvy, and start saying, hey, wait a minute. How come I'm doing this all the time, but I'm not getting this? How come I'm on 50 lives and yet it ain't live? How come like I'm right? How come I'm doing all this work, but I'm not getting any outcome? Right? But the work we do is according to this consciousness. So just because we're working doesn't mean we're conscious of the outcome we desire, meaning that we're assuming ourselves to be. It may mean we're trying to be or that we want to be, but that's not the same thing as being. If you walked up to somebody and said, hey, are you a millionaire? And they said, I'm trying to be. Would you now say they are? You'd be like, okay, well, you'd automatically say, well, then they're not. Hey, are you a millionaire? I'm working on it. Then you're not. Right? My point is that just because we're working, if we're not conscious of our desired end, if we're not assuming that we are the thing that we're working, if we're not assuming we are that, we are not that. If we are not that, we're not working in a way that's going to produce that. Because let's just use a word, when you're a millionaire, let's just say, we're just using a millionaire as a metaphor, meaning when you are whatever you want to be, you have a different set of thoughts than the person who is not that. A millionaire is a different state of mind than somebody who's poor. It doesn't mean they're better people, but they have different frames of mind. They're thinking differently. Right? So when you are trying to be successful, that's not the same set of thoughts as when you are assuming you are successful. As the ones that you have when you assume the consciousness of success, when you say, I am successful. Are you a millionaire? Yes, I am. Are you successful? Yes, I am. When you are in that, when you put yourself in that frame of mind, right? Then thoughts and feelings and all the actions come from that frame of mind. So the work you do starts producing things that reflect millionaire, that reflect the money or the consciousness that come from that consciousness. Because as we talked about before, right? When we said prosperity is what? What do we say prosperity was? I got a little couch right here. I can sit down and wait. What do we say prosperity was? Somebody say something. What did we say prosperity was last week? I think it was last week. It was last week. What did we say it was? There's my couch. Somebody say something. Guess, yell, scream, say something. What did we say it was?
A concept.
I think I told you guys before, I have a great language teacher. He will sit there and wake me out. Boy, he'll wake me out. I don't care how, it's uncomfortable how long he's willing to wait. But guess what? I'm a good copycat. I will wait. Somebody better say something. Guess, do something. what do we say prosperity was?
State of mind,
Designing
Oh,
what
man,
we want
everybody's
for what we
Go ahead.
want. Designing what we want for ourselves.
Okay. Okay. Decided what we want, state of mind, and who else? Somebody said something. Who else?
Continued progress towards your goal.
Okay. So so prosperity, we said last week.
condition,
Say it again.
condition,
Condition. It is a condition or a state. It's a condition or a state. So what this is, if prosperity is a condition or state, what does that mean? If these two are conditions and states, in order to be prosperous, what do you have to do?
Put yourself in that mindset.
Put yourself there. How do you do that?
Think you already are.
Assume
things
you
that you
are.
are.
Assume you are and stay in that assumption.
Not put in the chat, place yourself there.
Place yourself there. But the self of you that you have to place is your mind. You have to start assuming you are what it is you're working for. Working for it while assuming you're not it until you get it will prevent you from being it. Working for it while assuming you're not it until you become it will prevent you from being it. In mind, you move to this state, to this condition of prosperity by assuming you are. Now, how do we do that? How do people do that? They do it by 1,000 things. Affirmations, scripting, visualizing, meditating. You don't have to do any of these things. You don't have to do them. You don't have to. You don't. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I'm gonna put in the chat, I am, I feel, I do, I love, I speak, I see, I know.
That's cool if it's true. Sounds good. I hope it's true. Because if you are, then now you're winning. So the reason people do affirmations and scripting and visualizing and meditating and all these different things is to place themselves here in their mind. It is a mental thing. It's not a physical thing. The mind expresses the physical. The mind is in control of the physical. It's order of operations. So every time you're affirming or you're saying good thing, when we talk about talk that talk every week, you're not talking it like just saying it mindlessly and talking it. And I'm not even saying that you have to 100% believe it when you're first starting it. No, that's not true. That's why we're starting it. We don't live there. We live in New York. Now we got an idea to live in California. Just because we got the idea doesn't mean we're there that moment, so to speak. Right? But it means now the machine starts kicking on to bring us to that point one day. And so in your mind, when you're poor, when you feel like I don't have enough, it's not working out, I got more day than money, more week than money, I got more bills than money, I got more of this than I have of that, more problem than resource, more challenge than resource. So then we have to start flipping that. We have to start saying, okay, I'm now going to assume that I am prosperous or that I am healthy, that I am whatever else it is. When affirmations are just something where you're starting to condition your mind to the thought by saying it over and over. It's not, you don't need it to do that, but a lot of times it helps people because they have to start, because the thing you have to do to to get into this condition or state is you have to change your mind. And that's hard to do in the face of the 3D physical world. To look in your banking app and you got $8 and to say, I am successful, that's hard to do. But the reason you got $8 is because you're thinking the opposite. What does $8 represent? Doesn't represent prosperity. So as you are, that's That's what you got. That's what you're thinking. If you don't know, take a look at the bank app. If you don't know, take a look at your health. If you don't know, take a look at your relationships. If you don't know, take a look at your employment. If you don't know, take a look at whatever else it is. Right? But so that is why people affirm, script, visualize, meditate. You don't have to do any of those things. You already have the power within you. But a lot of us are being so conditioned to think that somebody else has it, or we're just this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, yeah, come on, you know what it is. I'm just lonely. I'm just whatever else it is, right? We've been conditioned to dumb ourselves down and make ourselves so small that how can we ever accomplish anything big? How can you ever be bigger than your thought? How can you ever accomplish more than your dream? Right? But we're always taking from ourselves. We're always chipping away at our desire. Oh, I'd really like that car. Oh, well, that's not for these people. Jesus rode on a camel. I had somebody tell me that before. Jesus rode on a camel. I was like, was there a Cadillac that he was missing? What? I mean, was he supposed to be riding on something else? Was he supposed to be in some kind of what? Right? It's like that was the Cadillac of the day. What you want the cat to ride on, so to speak, right? What are we talking about? People just come up with all this pseudo false humility, and it's nothing but abject stupidity. You're not doing anyone, including yourself first and foremost, any favor by making yourself small. By having a dream and trying to figure out a way to talk yourself out of it, or make it more realistic or reasonable. I mean, you're not doing anybody a favor. All you're doing is messing your own self up, right? If somebody has something to say, come.
Leslie said, I received this message today, and Giovanni said, just like his mama wasn't being fresh with his daddy.
Yeah, right. So my point is that in mind, you have to change your mind. You have to move in mind. You have to be willing to see yourself differently than you do now. That can be challenging because not only do we have to learn, we have to unlearn. That's probably harder. It's unlearning. Unlearning. Money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work 8 jobs to get what you want. You got to stay up all night. Everybody's glorifying grinding. So now people don't even take the time to brush their teeth. They just like, if I take 1 second away from the goal, I ain't gonna make it. Right? I mean, people are like marathon runners now. They working while they're asleep. They're working while they eat. They're working in the shower. They find a way to do something while they're in the shower. Like we have to unlearn some things. Right? We have to unlearn some ideas and some concepts because while they are true in our lives, they're not the truth. But what we believe, we make true in our lives because that's the power we are. We are the potter. We are the thing that is working the clay, our lives, our physical world. We are making our physical world according to what we believe ourselves to be. And we can change it just like that potter changes that clay. We can change it. But we have to be willing to change it, even though we're looking at something that says changing it is not reasonable. Even though people tell us changing it is not reasonable. People tell us changing, just be happy with what you have. Or somebody else always has it worse than you. I'm not going to complain. Somebody else has it worse. What the hell they got to do with me? My leg is hurting. What does somebody else's headache got to do with me? That has nothing to do with me. My leg hurts. Right? Help me. Fix me. If I get in the ambulance, I don't want to hear about somebody else's headache 2 hours ago. Fix my leg right now. I don't care what you just went through before with somebody else. They ain't me. My leg hurts. Help. Hap, whatever you understand. Do something. Quick. Right? So prosperity, but wealth, right? Health, right? Success. All these things are conditions and expressions of them. Once you get into the state or condition of wealth or of prosperity or of health, it expresses itself. You don't have to do anything. It expresses itself. You will automatically act under that influence. You go to Chicago in January. What is happening in Chicago in January? Snow. That's exactly right. Now, doesn't the snow influence everyone? Does anybody got to figure out what they're going to do when they go outside? Does anybody got to come up with any bright ideas? No, you look outside and you go and you're like, well, let me grab my coat. Your influence, your actions are influenced, your thoughts are influenced, your behaviors influenced because you're in a state.
When they're put in the chat, people forget the serenity prayer says worry about you.
Right? Concern yourself with yourself and you'll be a better self to, for, and everyone else. To yourself, for yourself, and for everyone else. And when you concern yourself with yourself, you'll stop worrying so much because you'll actually learn how to think properly. And you'll actually learn how to refashion or remodel a thought and say, that thought's not going to work for me. If I go down that street, if I go down that thought or that idea, that's going to lead in a dead end or off a cliff. So as much as I understand it, and it's common, and most people say, yeah, it's hard out here. I don't really want it to be that hard. So I'm going to turn this way. I'm going to go down this street. Now, this street is odd. It's unfamiliar. It's not common. There ain't a lot of people on it, but this is actually going to be the one that leads me to it. So I'm going that way. I'm going that way. Right? So when you are willing to change what you say about yourself, to yourself, about your life and about your things and say, okay, this is my clay. My life is my clay. My world is my clay. What do I want to change it to so that it looks like the outcome I want? What do I want to change it to? So you have parent and you have a child. Child statement is, I am healthy. That's the child statement. What is the parent statement? I am healthy. What is the parent statement of that? I see your mouth moving, Giovanni, but I can't hear you.
I'm a great parent.
Yeah, I can't make it all the way out. So the child statement is, I am healthy. What is the parent statement?
My child is healthy.
Okay. What is a child in relation to a parent?
A dependent.
A dependent? They are the what of the parent?
An extension.
An extension? What's another word that starts with an E?
With a what?
An E. Extension, there's another one. That's a good one. Extension, what's another?
Effect.
Effect. Okay. Extension, effect. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are talking because you're going to understand these words. And there's one more. Expression. So this then is I am healthy is what?
The result.
It's the outcome. It's the extension, the effect, and the expression. I am healthy. So then what is the extension, the effect, and the expression of? What then is the thing that produces that?
Health.
What is the parent statement?
Evidence. Natasha put evidence and then she put I am health.
I am health. I am the actual thing itself.
A plus, Natasha.
That's correct. I am the actual thing that produces the expression. This is the potter. This is everybody's name here. I am health. I am health itself. This is the source. This is the resource. This is the thing that comes as a result of it. It's the resource. I am health. You are the source. You are the creator of the actual thing that expresses itself. You're not just waiting for this thing to come. You created the thing that makes it possible to be. You are the thing that created your kids, that made them possible to be. They would not be here without you, and they don't come before you. So I am healthy does not come before you start to realize that you are actual health itself. You are the thing that actually expresses itself. It is an extension of itself, is the effect. So if you say, I am successful, parent statement is what?
I am success.
Saw you again, but can't read your could read it from here. What is it?
That would be I am success.
I am success.
I am success.
I am success. Now, how many of us are making parental statements? Is anybody making those parental statements? Or are we saying the child statement? Right? If we look at it, most people are saying the child statement. But what do children have to do in relation to their parents? When your child walks up to you and asks you a question, what do they have to do? After they ask, what do they have to do? No, what do they have to do?
Wait for your response.
Say it again.
Wait for your response.
What's the first word you said?
Wait.
That's what most people are doing. Waiting. Waiting to be happy, waiting to be successful, waiting to be healthy, working their butt off. So since they're working their butt off, they think they're not waiting, but they're exactly waiting. That's all they're doing is waiting. But they're working their butt off, so then they point to their labor and say, how come I didn't make it? Because you're waiting. You're making this statement. You don't ever assume you're never the parent, and the parent always comes first. I'm not saying you have to say this exact statement. I'm talking about you have to have this understanding. You have to realize that you are the source itself. You are the thing that makes your desire possible itself. You are the desirer and you are the grantor and the desirer. You're both. The desirer is your physical self, what you would call your name. The grantor is your consciousness. But it can't grant you something it's not assuming itself to be. And it is assuming itself to be what you are believing. Money is hard, takes a long time, got to have a lot of jobs. I got to get out these 50 grams a day because if I don't, we're setting a whole bunch of conditions on our desire. And we don't realize that we're placing hurdle after hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. We're putting, remember that back in the day on the cars when they used to have the club? People used to put the club on there, right? Oh, remember that? And you thought you were balling too when you had one. Put it on there real hard, turn the key, and look out like, yeah, I wish you would try to break in here. I wish you would. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna leave the window down. Doors unlocked, try it. Go ahead, show me what you got. Try it, right? Yeah, that's literally, we're putting the club on our mind. I want to be healthy. Well, the doctor said I got high blood pressure. I'm gonna have it my whole life. And it's probably true because my cousin had it, my auntie had it. Hey, Mom, didn't me Mom have it too back? Yeah, see, everybody had it. So, I'm just going. We're literally willing to assume ourselves to be anything that we don't even want. And then we place all these hurdles in our mind. Then we come back around and try to get some affirmations going, try to burn some candles. We try to get some beads out. We do hot yoga. We try to do everything to literally take this club off that we put on ourselves. But guess what we did when we put the club on, most of us? We put the club on and threw the key somewhere. Yeah, ain't nobody breaking in here. Yeah, guess what? You ain't getting in either, fool. Now you can't get in the car. So you and the thief are standing outside looking at your car. You done locked yourself out just as much as the person you tried to get out. You done locked yourself out. Right? We are locking ourselves out of our own mind, out of our own desires, out of our own dreams. We're locking ourselves out. Because we got to have this, and this got to be right first, and this got to be right first, and this has to be right first. But yeah, it'll never be right because you're not thinking right. How can you get something to be right if you're not thinking correctly? You can't outwork poor thinking because your work is only going according to your thinking. You're only doing what you think. That's why you ask somebody, most people, hey, why'd you do that? What's the first thing they say? I don't know. Well, why in the hell did you do it if you don't know? But that don't stop people from doing anything, does it? So if it doesn't stop people from doing anything, then why do we keep acting like what we do is the most important thing when people do stuff all the time and don't know why? It's not the most important thing. It's just a thing we do most often. It's a thing we've been trained and raised in the world to do the best. It's do physically. But thinking, boy, nobody talks about that. Every rap song talks about grinding. Not one of them talks about thinking. Shoot, the last person I heard talking about thinking is Eric B. and Rakim, thinking of a master plan. But ain't nothing but sweat inside my hand. Man, I can go the whole thing, but listen, I'm not going to do it because I almost threw the marker. I'm starting to get excited and get a little upset. I'm not going to do it. Right? Yeah, the thinking of a master plan. Right? No, now nobody's thinking. Everybody just hustling. Everybody just grinding. Everybody figuring out how to stay up 36 hours straight and talk about how they did it because that's how hungry they are. Right? No, that's how tired you are. And that's how ridiculous you are. And that's how messed up you're going to be. When you drive into this pole because you sleep. Is that what you came down? Is that what you came down here to do? Run into a pole because you're too tired? You think you really can? Do we really think we came down here to be killing ourselves? What? Who dresses up to go to a party and have a bad time? Who goes to Disneyland and says, this ain't going to be no good? Yet we came down to this earth and we find the most effective and efficient ways to be as miserable as we possibly can. And boy, and the more miserable you are, guess what? The more support groups you'll find. Boy, there's so many people to rub your back and rub your butt on your misery. And I'm talking about any misery you can find. My feet hurt, my head hurt, my money hurt, my back hurt, my relationships hurt, my teeth hurt. Boy, you can find a support group for everything. Try to find one for success. Boy, you'll be looking so hard and long. And people might set the building on fire if they know too many of you up in there. What do you mean what do you mean you can be anything? What do you mean you can be successful and you can be happy? Oh, that's what all positive thinking is. Light it on fire. Don't nobody want to hear about your good news? Nobody. Because we've been trained and conditioned to think it has to be hard. It has to be miserable. It has to be some kind of just sweat equity. That has to be, there ain't no kid at the park talking about no sweat equity. Ain't no kid at the park saying that. And they sweating hard. Kids out there, if you let them run out there playing basketball in church shoes, if you let them free, they going to get off in whatever they in and whatever they own. That's why our parents called it what? Church clothes. Don't go out there in them good church clothes. Because they knew if you got out that door, them church clothes might as well be Levi's, might as well be some Jordans and some Vans, because your shoes going to be busted, your tuxedo going to be busted, your tie going to be hanging halfway around your neck, and you sweating and you went hard. Didn't nothing stop you. That outfit didn't stop you. Look how many things as adults we grow up into stopping us. Got to have the right outfit on. Got to have the right gym. Then I got to have the right membership. Then I got to do, I need to get that new headband first. I need to do that. Oh, yeah. Hey, you know what? I need one of the fans that, and it has a little spray on it so I can do like that before I go. Because it's hot out here. Boy, you get a 9-year-old, they be out there in 500-degree weather, and you still can't find them. You got to put one of them Apple tags on their shoes. You don't know where they are. Because if you let them out, they gone. Right? That's how we should be in our lives. We out. We are out of the womb. It's time to get going. It's time to get cracking. What you waiting on? What you waiting on? Just imagine if a kid waited in the house until their friends came over. They'd be sitting up there the whole time looking at you. And the longer they're looking at you, the more likely this ain't going to work. You know what? Why don't you go up there and clean your room again? Hey, why don't you take the trash out for me? So what do kids do? Kids are like, you know what? My friend ain't here, but Ma, I'll see you later. Where's Tommy at? I don't know, but he'll be here in a minute. They know, get out the house quick. Because the longer I knew, all my friends knew. Man, when I woke up, my eyes lit open. I got a plan quick, and I put my stuff up. I brushed my teeth, put my shoes on, watered the grass while doing both of those. I did everything I could as quickly as I could so that I could be out before my mom got any of her bright, prophetic ideas. Before she got any of these holy, sanctified ideas of going to Costco with her, of going to get the car washed with her, I was out. I was putting my socks on down the street. I was out of the house. Well, we are out of the house. We're out of the womb. It's time to get going, y'all. We in the world. We here now. We hear it's time to get going. What do you want? What do you want to be for yourself? What do you want to have for yourself? What do you want? And in order to get that, you have to be willing to move. You have to be willing to change the thoughts of your mind about yourself, about what's possible for you, about all those things, because without it, you're going to work your butt off and have nothing. Still. That's why most people quit. Not because they didn't work. They quit because they were doing something, but they quit because they saw it not possible. But it ain't possible to just all grind and you're behind with no mind. Oh yeah, I'm gonna sit down. That just came to me. That's about that. Right? That's it. That's all most of us are doing. We're wearing our body out, wearing our butt out. We're wearing ourselves out because we're unwilling to use our mind. We'll kill our body because we won't use our mind. We'll put our body on every diet, but won't have a mental diet. We won't choose to think what we will think and what we won't think. Most people who are good with their body, the first thing they talk about is their diet. Well, most people in life who are good in their life, who are winning, they'll talk about their mental diet. They'll talk about what they will think or what they will not think. I wrote it down.
Tasha said that needs to be on a t-shirt.
Right? Andrew Carnegie said, I am no longer cursed by poverty. Andrew Carnegie was poor. He came over here from Scotland. Andrew Carnegie, at one time was the richest man on the planet, they said. He was the steel baron of this country. He's the one that started the public school library system. He had so many books. He was the one that commissioned Napoleon Hill to write Think and Grow Rich. He was the one who commissioned to do that. He gave Napoleon Hill all his contacts and said, go around to all these people. He did a 20-year commission study that he did for free. And the book of that study, the outcome of that study was Think and Grow Rich. He said, I'm not going to give you no money. Will you do it? You poor and broke, you better learn something. And he said, all right, I'll do it. 20 years. He said, I'll give you contacts, but I ain't going to help you get there and nothing else. But I give you everybody's contacts and names and everything like that. They will talk to you because of me. He was the richest man on the planet at one point. He was a billionaire back then. And he came from Scotland in the late 30s. He dropped out of school when he was 12 to help his family work. And what did he say? He said, I am no longer cursed by poverty. He knew what poverty was. That's why they left Scotland. His dad lost his job, and he said he saw his dad begging for a job, on his hands and knees, begging somebody for a job. He said that I burned an imprint in his mind. He said, that's not going to be me. I don't know how I'm going to make it, but this ain't going to work. So his mom decided that they got an idea and said, let's go to America. That's the American dream. They said, there's opportunity there. Let's see if we can find it. They came to Pittsburgh. That's why Pittsburgh is like one of the steel capitals of, especially in America, the world. Pittsburgh is full of bridges, right? So, but that's why, because that's what they were out there doing that steel. They were real with it, right? But saying all that to say, he became the steel baron of our time, of this country. When you think of steel, you have to think of him. But like I said, he also introduced the public library. So he knew about poverty. He dropped out of school when he came here. He dropped out when he was 12. Didn't have enough money. He said his first week, he got paid $1.20. First week. And he said, I am no longer cursed by poverty because I took possession of my own mind. And that yielded me every material thing I wanted and much more than I needed. So this is somebody who knew about being poor. This is somebody who left a country that they were poor in to come here where they knew nothing and no one because it was better than where they were. And so he said, I am no longer cursed by poverty. So everybody thinking poverty is a blessing and it makes you some kind of good person and it makes you stronger and everything like that. You can, use it for, if you got to use it for what you can, but there ain't no honor in that. It don't make you a better person. It makes things harder. And if you want to do things harder, you can do that, but that doesn't make you a better person. It just makes it harder to get to be where you want to be. Right? But a lot of us are impoverished in our mind. Right? He said, I was cursed by poverty. He said, I was cursed by poverty. He said, I'm no longer cursed by poverty because I took possession of my own mind. Who did he know when he got here? What education did he have when he got here? Now, if you know anything about history in this country, right? The Irish, the Italian, Jewish people, Polish people were not looked upon favorably in this country at the beginnings because they were not what you would call Nordic white. Look it up.
Akia put in the chat, Carnegie Hall for excellence in performance.
Yeah. This dude came over here and dropped out of school at 12 years old. They were Irish. They weren't, Scottish. They weren't favored in this country in the early days. They were not. They were the same boat as what people call black people here. They were in the same boat. They were not looked at favorably. Polish people, Italian, Jewish people, Scottish people, Irish people, German. Look it up. Look up the history. Look at what Benjamin Franklin talked about when he talked about Germans. Look it up. This person came here 12 years old, younger than that, and dropped out when he was 12. So I'm not saying because he made it, everybody can make it, but I am saying that. But what did he say that made it? He said, I'm no longer cursed by poverty because I took possession of my own mind. He took possession. He took it. Not someone gave it to him. He took it. Possession of his own mind. And he said his own mind yielded to him all the material things he needed and much more than he needed. Your mind will give you everything you need and more than you could ever use. That's what prosperity is. That's what abundance is thriving in success. It's a tidal wave. We talked about it last week. Right? But you have to take possession of your own mind. Everyone is willing at best to take possession of their own behind. So they'll go get 4 jobs, they'll do this and they'll do that. And there's nothing wrong with placing effort in something. That's not the point. But the effort has to be guided by proper thought. And everybody's running around and you ask them and they'll say, I don't know. I don't know why I'm doing that. Well, this is what someone else told me to do. But somebody who was poor, 12, no education, 12, he ain't got no master's degree in my best English. Right? He's not even from this country, right? And at 12 dropped out in order to get on and help his family. But he took possession of his own mind. That's what he accredited his success to. I'm no longer cursed by poverty. He knew what poverty was. He said, but I got it back because I took possession of my own mind. And that's what I'm saying that we have to do here. That is what we learn here. I always say, I don't care what you want. I just want you to have it. I don't care what you do. Do it to death. Drive it like you stole it. You're out. You're like that. Like them kids. When you let them out that door, they out there. They are free, and they are not trying to come back. If they have to use the bathroom, they'll try to figure it out. They'll do anything not to come back in the house and possibly be stopped with any of your parental bright ideas, right? And it's the same thing. I want us to go out in the world and get off, but you have to take possession of your own mind to do it. Listening to everyone else about everything else, including me. I'm not here to just be listened to. I'm here to spark your own ideas in your mind. I am here to get you to start thinking about you and about you properly, whatever you want to do or be or have. That's why I'm here. But the only thing I'm telling you is you won't make it without taking possession of your own mind. Now, whatever you want to take possession and make it too, cool. Do that. But do that. Don't sit around thinking that you're going to keep outworking your mind. You're not. You never have and you never will. And all that does is get you stressed, worry, fear, anxiety. That's all it does. That's all it is. It's just a lack of clarity.
Akia put in the chat, clarity of who you are and being unshakable in your knowing makes you unstoppable in every area of your life. Absolutely.
And that's just a trained skill. It's a trained discipline because we've been trained in the opposite. We've been trained to not know who we are, to think somebody else is better, smarter, has better ideas. We should listen to this and we should do it like that. And it should be like this. And it's your own idea. So you got an idea. You tell it to somebody, boy, in 5 minutes, it's not even yours anymore. Somebody else and hijacked and told you how to fix, how to change, how to do this, how to do that. And you don't even know what you're doing anymore. Not even yours anymore. Right? Those ideas that come up with you, it doesn't mean that you can't listen to other people. What does it say? There's wisdom in the multitude of counsel. Every rich person got lawyers, accountants, financial planners. They have a team of people that supports them, but they support them. You're here to help me get off with my dream. I hired you. You didn't hire me. Now, and so every bit of counsel or wisdom you give me is to help me be what I want, not what you think, what I want, legally, ethically, and successfully. And so I understand you have more wisdom in this area, so I'm going to follow it to a certain extent. But I'm not going to change up my whole thing because it's not my thing anymore. And are you going to do it? Right? So it's good to have counsel. It's good to have people around you in your life that you can rely on, depend on, ask questions to. Do that. Do that. That's a good thing. No man is an island unto themselves. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying within you, you have everything it takes to live the dreams and desires that are coming up within you. That's why they come up within you, because they're yours. And so you have everything necessary to do it. Right? And so then as you're on that journey, with that mindset of I am what I want to be, or I have what I want to have, or I'm doing what I want to do, while I'm walking in that assumption, though at the time I assume it's false. I don't see it. I can't taste it, touch it, or feel it. But if I continue in that assumption, though it's false at the time, it will harden into fact. Andrew Carnegie said, it's not going to happen to me. Well, it didn't. It's a billionaire. Benjamin Franklin said, I'm not going to stay around my brother hitting me over the head because he's jealous. I'm going to move out of Boston. I'm going to head to Philly. And now he's one of the so-called founding fathers, one of them, one of the most important ones, really. So you can reshape that life, just like you reshape that clay. But the potter is where it starts. Your mind, your imagination, your declaration, what you are now willing to accept or assume or choose or decide yourself to be, in spite of what you're looking at right now, what you're looking at, who you're looking at. You look at yourself in the mirror, you may be 50 pounds overweight. Okay, what do you want to be now? I want to be in phenomenal shape. I want to every time I look at myself, I want to feel good. Okay, now assume that's the truth. And let that thought ruminate in your mind. Meditate on that. Entertain that over and over in your mind. And it will lead you to all the things that's necessary for you. Then you might start thinking about roller skating. You might start doing some kind of diet. But it's all personal to you. Your mind knows what to get you to get what you want when you decide to be something. It knows how to help you just as much as terrorize you. It knows how to do both, but it's only helping you be what you're thinking. If I don't have enough, okay, cool. Well, I got a feeling that goes with that thought. Don't worry about it. Perfect. Right? I always have more than enough. Well, cool. I got a feeling that goes with that. Perfect. And the two become one flesh. The two become an experience. Right? So I want homework number 1 of the day. Write it down. And I'm looking at everybody's name on the screen and I'm watching everybody. I want you to write the parent and the child, write all the child expressions, and write all the parent expressions of that. Right? The parent. So the child, I am healthy. Parent, I am health. The parent is the source. The parent is the thing that it comes from. So I am health. I am the thing that I want to express. I am that thing. I am health. I am that thing. I am success. I am prosperity. Which means that statement would be, I am prosperous. Right? In action, prospering. But I am prosperous. Parent statement, I am prosperity. Right? So I want you to write down, five or more, at least 5, just to get the exercise in and think on it. And you choose, I don't care which ones you choose. Choose whatever ones are good for you. If you want to work on your health, I am healthy. Cool. Okay, I'm healthy. No, I am health. I'm the thing itself. You know what? I want better relationship. I am a great relationship. Like I am the great relationship. I am the thing that I want to express in my life. I am that. Write at least 5 of them. And look at them every day. Just sit with them for a minute. I'm not saying we got all day and all night, but sit with them. Say them to yourself. Think about those things for yourself. Change your identity if you don't like what you're expressing. Change it. You cannot outwork it. I lived in Chicago for a year. I can tell you in January, it snows and it's cold as all hell. And that wind coming off that lake is abusive. Climate violence. Seriously. And don't nobody get to say, oh, well, no. You in that state. It's going to express itself. So what we're using this for is not because it's necessary for you. You don't have to do this to be successful. You don't. But this is going to help most of us who need to start changing our thought, because in order to be successful, we have to change our thought. Whatever it takes for you to change your thought is what you do. Like I said, you could affirm, you could script, you could visualize, you could meditate, you could act it out, cry it out, walk it out, dance it out. You could do whatever puts you into that state is all that matters. Right? That's all you're using this for. We're just using this to put you in a state. It's not necessary for you to actually be in it. If you're willing to say, you know what? I'm successful now. I am success. If that works for you, then do it. And you actually maintain that frame. You're a resident of that state, not a visitor. You ain't got no Airbnb. You ain't just renting. You're a visitor of that. A resident of that state. You stay in that pocket. Right? If you can do it, cool. But we're just doing these things so that we can put ourselves in this state, because we have to learn and unlearn. And so these are just tools. They're not necessary for you to get what you want. But these are just tools a lot of times to help us get in the state of mind that we want to get in, because we have to unlearn some things and we have to learn how to get into where we are. They're just directions. You can get there if you don't know where you're going. It's just more likely that you won't, or it's going to take longer. You may feel lost, but you don't have to have directions. You can just drive and hope you make it. That's what most of us are doing. So directions a lot of times are just a little more beneficial. And once you get in the habit, then you're a resident. It's just easy now. So this is just a tool. But these tools only work because you work them. Because you are the power. You are the power that makes everything work. That's what I mean when I say you don't need these things. These are just tools. You don't need them. You are the power that makes everything work. You are. You are the power, right? So I'm just giving you tools to help you get into that state of mind. But you use any tool you want. You don't need any tools, but you use whatever you want, because you are the power. Whatever tool you use, you are the worker. You're the user of that tool. A wrench don't get up and start walking, right? Car don't just start up and start moving, right? You are the driver. So it doesn't matter what tool you use, you are the power. So you are the most important part of the equation. So you can use the tool or not. But this is going to be the homework, right? And it just at minimum 5. And just sit with them a little bit every day. Just sit with them, ponder them, really let it sink in who you really are. What you're expressing is healthy. Who you are is health itself. You created health itself. You created the actual source health, just like the actual source water, just like the actual source oxygen. You created this. It has to be who you are. You created it for it to be used or experienced or the extension of it or expressed or effected. You are that. I want you to understand that you are the power that makes all this work. I want you to understand that. If you can understand that, then you will apply this understanding to any area that is specific to you. To be a teacher, a doctor, a digital artist, doing coding, having your own content creation, being your own cosmic goddess down there, I see on the screen, right? Being your own, whatever it is, right? Real estate educator, being your all the different people that are on here, right? Take this information and apply it to your situation. Talk to your business. Talk to your money, talk to your health, talk to your body, talk to it. You are the creator of it. You're the owner of it. You are the power. You decide how it goes. You decide how it works. Things don't have to be hard. What did it say? In the book it said, Jesus said, let this mind, in the book, he didn't say it, but the book said, let this mind that's in Christ be also in you. What it's saying is think like this person if you want to get off, because this person's getting off, right? So think like the person that is what you want. Think your highest good. What did it say? That they said, let this mind that's in Christ be also in you. Well, Christ said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So out of all the people in that book, they said, think like this one person. Well, you said you grinded. That person said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Well, that person walked on water and turned water into wine. And what have you done? So why would I want to grind like you? Now, we know that's not a real person. We understand that's a personification of mind. But they're saying, think like that mind, so that you can walk on the water of your life and turn your water into wine. Meaning, when you're turning water into wine, it means you're turning truth into experience. Water is truth. Wine is the experience of that. When you turn it into something that you want, turn it into your desired experience. When you're walking on the water, it means you're literally walking on the truth. That's why you don't drown, because you're walking on the truth. Right? And that mind said, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Stop setting barriers in front of yourself that you don't want to have to overcome and hurdle. Stop thinking it's got to take you 10 years to be successful. Stop thinking you got to work 90 hours a week to be successful. You can't, but you don't have to. Start thinking your highest and best good. Start thinking that you have a magic mind and that everything you set your hand to prospers. You always know everything you need to know what to think about it. Stop thinking that people can stop you from being successful, that people are against you, that people don't listen when you talk. Stop thinking that people don't do what you ask them to do. Stop thinking that stop thinking that. Choose what you want, that everybody's working for me. Everybody's working for my highest and best good. Everyone is a link in the chain of my best good and my highest good. Everyone means me well and treats me kindly. Right? Start talking that talk about what you want to hear, to be, to do, to have. Right? Otherwise, it's not true. As a mind think, so is it. As you believe yourself to be, so are you. That's not true if you're at the mercy of the world. Then it's not true. Then this Saturday is worth nothing. All the stuff we're talking about is worth nothing. It's either true or it's not. It ain't always easy to believe. It ain't always easy to try, because the world tells us it's not that way. But if you want to be like the world, you go right on ahead, because most of them are unhappy, unhealthy, unsuccessful, unaware, undisciplined, and I can go on and on and on. High blood pressure, misery, depression, and everything else. What you want to be like that for? People ain't got enough of that yet? Haven't we all lived long enough to realize this road is long enough to realize it ain't leading to anywhere by now? Choose a different one. You have the right to choose. You are free will itself. Your consciousness is free will itself. It can do anything. What does it say? I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. I am God and there is no other. There's no one beside me. There's no one beside you in your mind. You are allowing whatever's happening to happen, or you're not stopping it, or you're not starting. You are killing or making alive. You're either wounding or healing. You have to decide which one you're going to do. Your consciousness is all that's necessary. You choose what you want to be, do, or have. Stop putting people in it. Stop putting hurdles in front of it. Stop putting barriers to it. Start assuming your success, and your good success, and your easy success, your happy success, your fun success. Assume the best for yourself. Assume that you always have the best ideas, that you always have the best support, that you always have the best relationships, that you assume the best for yourself. That's what they're talking about. As a mind thinks. As a mind thinks. What do you say? I cured myself from the curse of poverty, essentially, because I took possession of my mind. Take possession of your mind. It's the only freedom you have. It's the only freedom you are. Is your consciousness. Your body is not free. It is only living, experiencing, expressing according to the who. It's the what, the when, the where, the why. You are the who. Right? These things we have to get. And there's many different ways that I say it, or as people talking about it or discussing it or reading it or teaching it, try to say it 1,000 different ways to get this, but it's all to get the same point across. You are the power. Within that physical body of yours that you have named is the power, is the universe, is creation, is what people call God, is what people call whatever you want to call it. Within that body, that is who you are. And you have and you are everything necessary to live, to be, to do, to have every experience you want. Has anybody ever opened a door and it squeaked? Thank you. Somebody, thank you. Raise your hand, man. I appreciate that. I saw that. Raise your hand. Okay. Has anybody ever heard the sun come up? Anybody? Because if you have, let me know. Because you got some kind of hearing that's just incredible. So we've heard of, man, stop it. Stop. Knock it off. Stop it. Stop it. Just, you know what? Seriously. I got through the whole thing, and now I got upset.
It's really
I
loud.
got upset. Right? So we've heard a door, right? And heard it squeak. We've never heard the sun come up. Stop it. Right? That's awesome, right? That's awesome. So what is the difference between the door and the sun? Come on, I got my couch, I'll sit it down on you, and I will lie down. I will lie down on this thing. I will do it. What is the difference between the door and the sun?
One is loud and the other is silent, I'm assuming.
What does that mean? Anything else?
One rises while one swings.
Oh,
Say it again.
One rises while one swings.
Okay. That was absolute, man, that was so wrong. Thank you. No, thank you. That's right. Okay. One rises, one swings. Okay. But what
One
Physical
shines.
nature.
who said that? Physical nature. Who said that?
Karen, EA's in the C-suite.
Okay. So what? So, okay. Go further with that. Like, think about what we're talking about here today. The physical nature is good. What? Go ahead. What does the chat say? Somebody say.
Oh, well, Leslie put in the chat.
Yes.
One is man-made, the other was created.
That's exactly right. The one that was created don't squeak. The man-made one does. God don't grind. God just does. God said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. You cats want to stay up. See, I almost said something else. You cats want to stay up. And yeah, you cats want to stay up and work 12 jobs and do all these diets and kill yourself and run 98,000 miles. And you want to do all that? Cool. Cool. But the sun come up, it don't look like it had no problem coming up. Ain't no squeaking in that. And it's been doing it a lot longer than you've been doing it. I mean, we can't even get a door to go 200 years without squeaking and the sun coming up. See, there's that part of you that rises without a squeak. Then there's that physical part of you that if you're not thinking like that true part of you while you're making this door, right? Or just the nature of man-made things, it's going to eventually break down because it's not designed to last forever. What we make in humanity is not designed to last forever. What we make as God does. Stars ain't going nowhere. They finding new ones all the time. Moon shining. So I guess God got good credit or something because the light keep coming on, right? That's a long time. And like, boy, I'm just saying, I don't know anything about this, but I'm just saying that they will cut your stuff off. I don't know personally, but I'm just saying, all right, right. They'll cut stuff off. If you don't pay your bill, they will cut your stuff off quick, right? We know we'll cut stuff off. So if the moon's still lighting, the sun's still shining, the stars still shining, right? Yeah, we done all been there. We done all been there once. In college, they cut my phone bill off because I thought I could. Yeah, like I thought I could just keep using the phone in college, and I thought I was gonna keep using it. I picked it up one day. I was like, hello. I was like, where's the thing at? Where's the little buzz thing at? Yeah, they didn't cut my joint all the way off, right? Sun still out, stars still shining, moon still light, still illuminating at night, right? So the God part of you don't run out. don't run dry. So if the sun's still shining and you got a business, that means guess what? That means you should always have clients. Isn't that what a business gets? Isn't that what it does? What good is the sun gonna do? The sun comes up and it's got frost all on it. What the hell are we gonna do with that? If the sun got frost on it, I'm leaving. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going somewhere. Because that's not gonna go right. That don't look right. If the sun is still shining, the moon is still illuminating, the stars are still popping at night, if the waves and the oceans are going, if something does what it does, and God makes it, then it does what it does, and it does before you, with you, and after you. So if you got a little business for 40 years, that ain't 4 billion thousand years. So how are you running out of people? How do you have not enough people to patronize your business? That's a you problem. You up. See, got me.
Oh, you dropped the pen very softly.
Pressure. Here's my mom, not now. Here's my pressure. See, look, she's still torturing me. She's still harassing me. Still. I'm an adult. You can't talk to me like that anymore. Yeah. Right? So my point is that true part of yourself knows how to shine all the time. It knows how to shine all the time. That true part of yourself, you got a business, it knows how to get people all the time. If the water's still working, you know how many people have been in that beach? You wouldn't even go in if you thought about it consciously. But it's still water in there. Still going. Still sand. Still sun. Still moon. Still sky. All the wars, bombs, torpedoes, tornadoes, and everything else still going. So that part of you knows how to get everything going for your business, for your health, for your relationships, for anything else. It doesn't run out. It doesn't run dry. That's why when I come on here, I don't hold anything back. People tell me, oh, you shouldn't give them everything. Only give them a little bit. So then they'll want to buy a course. Then they'll want to do this. I'm like, I'm not doing. See, I almost said something. I almost walked. I'm not going to do it. I'm getting worked. I'm working, getting worked up. Hey, you see? Now you have people here not being a good listener. She always told me when I was young, be a good listener, and she's not being a good listener. She's back harassing me again. So, right? It's, see, now you made me forget what I was saying now. See, now I'm really upset. Okay, right? So, but it is, so you have everything that you need for your business. You have everything for your health, for your this, for your that, right? Nothing that the God part of you doesn't run dry. Oh, that's what I was saying, is that I don't have to limit it. But I got enough bars to laugh a lifetime. Because this is what I do. And this is what I love to do. Every week I got the sun is shining every week. The ocean's going every week. The moon is lighting every week. Because it's that same creative power in me that made the moon, the stars, the sun, that we are a part of. That we created. So you don't have to run out of anything. So you don't have to skimp on nothing thinking if you don't give them all, if you give them all of it, they ain't gonna want nothing else. That's limited. That's limited. That's limited thinking. You want to talk about a limited belief? There's one right there. That's one right there in your face. See, I'm getting it worked up again. Right? No. You give people what you got. Because you know you can't give all you have. It's not possible. Right? You have so much in you can't imagine it. And the more you give, the more you get. Starts a cycle, starts a circle. Right? So I want you to understand that just like that moon, that sun, and them stars, and that beach, and that water, and that sand, and all the different things, all the different seasons, blades of grass aren't grinding to come up from the ground. Ain't nothing, the leaves ain't grinding on the tree. That's humanity. Humanity's doors are squeaking. Humanity is going through all these things, not the higher power in you. It doesn't work like that. So when you remember that you are that power, that's who you are, and you set yourself in that mind, this is who I am. I am that being. I am that power that people call God, the universe, creator, Allah, Buddha. Doesn't matter. That's who you are in your body, called Giovanni, called Tammy, called Cynthia, called Justin, called Kari, called Mona. That's who you are. Inside of that's who you are. It's making that body alive. Your body's not alive without you. It's only alive because of you. And it's only alive according to you, to the life you give it. And the life you give it is your concept of it. And that concept of it comes from the physical part, which is, who do I think I am? I could be anybody. I'm just making it up. So who do I want to be? It's like an actor on a screen. Denzel done played 50,000 characters. Right? 50,000 characters. He done been Lonzo on there. He done been everybody. Your boy in Glory with the tear. He done been in the Pelican brief, running around in the suit. He was hair slicked back. He done been in all kind of stuff. Right? But he's
Coach
still
Boone.
one person. Yeah, thank you. That's right. Somebody that's participating around here. Yeah. Right? It's still one being playing all the roles. We are the Elohim. We are the one made up of many. We're one being playing all these roles. We're going back to the same place we came from when we step out of this body. So what you waiting on? It's time to start living, time to start working, time to start being, time to start doing. It's time now. You can be or do or have anything that you are willing to believe. That you're willing to say, okay, I can do that. That belief doesn't start off 100% the first day. Any teacher will tell you that. You get out them multiplication tables, them addition and subtraction tables. Ain't nobody in there popping it off the first day. But repetition, time. That's all affirmations are, the repetition. That's all they are. It's just repeating a new thought. It's choosing a new way to think or see or feel about something and saying it to yourself over and over till it's locked into your mind. It's not necessary to be what you want, but for most of us, it is just because we have to unlearn some things. We have to change our thought. It's necessary to change your thought. However you change your thought, do you. If it's sitting on the grass, looking up in the sun, if it's writing on a paper, if it's painting, whatever it is for you, that's what you have to do. You have to change your mind. You don't have to do affirmations. You don't have to script. You don't have to visualize. You ain't got to turn a face a certain way, wear a certain outfit, burn no candles, have no beads. Do you. But you don't have to do those things. But do whatever gets the mood right. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Do whatever gets the mood right. Do that. Do that. Put the candles on. Put the Luther on. Put something. Do something. That's it. I'm just saying, right? Do whatever. Get the mood right in your mind. Do what you gotta do. Exactly. There is no right way. There is no wrong way. You do whatever it is. It's just a state. There's no right state or wrong state as far as North Carolina, Alaska, Texas. It's just maybe the wrong state for you. Maybe too hot, maybe too cold, but it's perfect for someone else. Depression is perfect for the people who want to express that. It's not a good or bad thing. It just feels bad if that's not where you are. If that's not what you want to be. If you want to move, right? It's just a state. No, California don't make you come. Texas doesn't pull you here, right? Neither do psychological states. They're just reflections of you. You moved in them. And some days you wake up and say, you know what? I want to live somewhere else. And you move in your mind by now saying, I'm now a resident of Texas. I'm now a resident of New York, of California. I'm now a resident. I moved from one place to another. That's all. So there's 1,000 different ways to say it, but we're only saying it for the same reason. You are the power. It's that simple. It's not always, doesn't always feel that simple. Doesn't always seem that simple. People will tell you it's 1,000 different things and they'll put 1,000 different hurdles and you got to be this first. And you got to think this first. You got to act like this first. No, you are the power. Now with that power, what do you want to do with it? What do you want to be with it? What do you want to have with it? What are you willing to say? I am the power, and because I'm the adult here, it's because I said so. Just because I said so. That's all manifesting is. It's making the unseen seen. You're bringing a thought that's unseen into your physical world. That's what manifesting is. It means to make seen. That's it. It doesn't mean to make. It's already made. You're not creating anything. No matter how brilliant you think the idea you have is, it's already exists. That's what the idea is. The idea is just like a movie trailer, just letting you know something already exists. It just exists in your mind. Then you use your mind to physically assemble it. But it's already created. You're just assembling. Legos are already created. You just use them to assemble something. The idea that you have is just your awareness telling you that something already exists. That's what an idea is. It's your awareness telling you that something exists. Like when you're walking down the street with somebody and somebody points to something and say, oh, do you see that? They're not pointing to something they made. They're pointing to something that they see is there. That's what an idea is. It's your higher self pointing to your human self, to your human mind. Hey, you see this? Then you're, oh yeah, that's an idea. You're not creating it. Now all you're doing is saying, okay, cool, that's me. And I'm gonna assemble that. I'm gonna make a phone, I'm gonna make a car, or I'm gonna make my own business. That's all it is. But that same power that can show you is the same power that will help you succeed. That will provide your success, because that's what it's supposed to do. Right? But it's doing that according to you. So stop putting hurdles, barriers, and all kind of other conditions upon your desire and upon the things that you want to be or do or have. That ain't it. Ain't no blade of grass grinding. If the sun ain't grinding, leaves ain't grinding, the beach ain't grinding, it ain't doing any of that. You don't have to do that either. But in your human mind, you do. In your God mind, you don't. You got to pick. Pick, choose. Choose. There's a whole lot of support groups for that human mind. You have a good time with that. But you spend more time in therapy and in groups than you will on the streets or enjoy peace, happiness, health, success. What does it say in that book? Last thing, what does it say in that book? Beloved, I wish above all things, that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. If you ain't doing that, you not in the will of God. Let's say that. You're not in the will of highest thinking. You are out of pocket. You are out of bounds. And guess what? And if you're out of that, guess what you are? Grounded. You hurt, you sick, you broke, you poor, you messed up, sad, angry, bitter, all kind of other things. Because you're out of pocket. You're out of the will of your true self. This is what I should be. I should be out here winning. My health should be good. I should have good health. And my soul should be prosperous. My identity should be constantly thriving. That's what you're doing, all your ideas and desires. There are ways for you to constantly express yourself more and more, like a rose petal opening up. There's constant expressions, right? That's who you are. You are the power. You are the magic. You are the magician. Every day you're saying abracadabra. Every day, let there be, essentially. You're saying it every day. Let there be what? Success or stress? Help and support or hurdles? Better or bitter? You got to figure out which one you're going to pick. In LA, there's Bloods and Crips. They are not the same. You got to choose a side. Where I'm from, you got to choose a side. I chose the third. I'm out. I can't do it. I can't be running every day. That's just too much work. With a backpack on and clothes, chasing people. No, I'm good. Right? You got to choose a side. Got to choose a side. All right. Any questions about anything we said? Anything anybody want to say? Any questions, comments, anything, good news, anything like that? Anything anybody want to say?
Thank you.
I love the state versus the state analogy, like the physical location states and your emotional state. Ooh, that was so spicy. That was good. That was good.
Oh, thanks, Ray. I appreciate it. Good. Glad you got it.
You definitely set my mind straight on the parent-child, statements. So my affirmations, I've been saying, I am abundance, I am wealth. And I've been thinking that that's not accurate, that I should be saying I'm wealthy. And you putting it in the perspective of the parent statement versus the child statement just set me free to be able to say it wholly and believe it.
Well, that's wonderful. And I'll say to you, and I want to say it to everyone, that's my point. My point is that you guys are, if you actually listen to yourselves, you'll be saying the same things to yourself. You'll have already been saying them. Like you'll be thinking the same way because it's only one consciousness. And when you're on the right track, it's like saying you'll see the same house that everyone on the same road will see, right? So you're absolutely right. So what I'm here to do is just to remind you to let you know that what you are right. You do know how to think and to encourage you to do it. So you were absolutely right then and you're absolutely right now. So I'm so glad to hear that. That's wonderful.
Thank you, Lucky.
Wonderful.
Yeah, mine is. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I'm driving, so I can't. All right, what's up, Coach Logies and Natasha? Hey, thanks to you. What's up? Today I became a parent, so thank you for that.
Hey, guess what? Without the bills, without the necessary babysitters, without
sleep.
yeah, sleep, man. They hate on your kids. They hate on your beauty. They hate on your sexy. They hate on your time. And the kids, man, they don't know what we were like before we had them. We were out here fire, and they done messed everything up. See, Mom, see, it's too much. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Appreciate it. No, those.
Yes, appreciate it, Tosh. Appreciate it.
Yes, bro.
Awesome.
I would like to say I appreciate that you let us know that these are just tools. We just gotta do it and keep working at it to make it better. Don't take the tools and make it your excuse. Make it actually work more than your tool.
Absolutely. Because you could be the greatest plumber in the world. You need tools, but the tools aren't going to work themselves. They're not gonna, right? And even if you have the tool, you still got to make it work and know how to use it. So you are the power. You're just using the tools to express your power. You are the power. Don't give your power away to the tools. The tools don't make you no plumber. You know, I can buy $1,000 worth of tools right now. I can't fix your sink. It ain't gonna happen. So you're absolutely right. You are the power, and you use those tools to express your power to whatever extent and degree you desire. So absolutely right. Wonderful.
The Potter's House analogy was it for me today. The Potter's House and the clay. I'm going to do some shaping and molding. It's just so good.
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I want us to understand is that just reshape the clay. We go through too much to change. We think we can't change. We're too old. We've been doing it too long. Everybody won't believe it anyway. Then you go out and tell somebody you changed it, and that was the worst thing in the world to do. Because then they're going to be like, right? You already know that was the worst. You should just don't do that. Right. And so we just think that it's impossible to change, but we're the potter. We can just change the clay. We can change who we are, what we are. Absolutely. Just like that. So you're wonderful. You're wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, be like clay. I like that.
All right. Any other questions or anything else before I let you see? I'm letting you guys go a little early today. It's summer. You know, the weather's out there cracking. So, people want to, get their little thing on. So trying to let people out of class a little bit early today. Hey, man. And I see you over there. You had never heard the sun come up either. So don't even try to see that. You got me upset. See?
It was loud. It plays the Lion King. Like, when Simba gets right, nah, like you hear it every morning. I can't be the only one. It's not my phone alarm. Every morning the sun comes up. All you hear is nah, nah, nah. Like it can't be me.
Man, you know what? Yes, it can be you. It can be just you. God. Bro, that's awesome. Man, I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came, bro. I'm glad you came. Good to have you. Yes, sir. It's good to have you here. Yes. Well, hey, wonderful, everyone. Like I said, I'll keep my word. I'll give you 2 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes of playtime. 2 minutes of playtime. Get out early. Thank you all for coming. Wonderful. Another wonderful Saturday. Have a wonderful week. Remember who you are. Remind yourself. Talk to yourself. Talk that talk. Love yourself. Realize that you are the power and keep it and do you. Do you. Do your thing out here. It's go time. It's go time. All right. Well, I love you all. Appreciate you all. Thank you all for coming. And we'll see each other next week.
Bye, guys.
Love you too, Coach.
Thanks,
Bye,
Vero.
Vero.
Appreciate you all. Have a good one.